Hi everyone and welcome to another video tutorial. Today I am going to show you two different cards that I made with some really bright and contrasty pattern papers. They're rainbow, so I love them. But sometimes it can be hard to figure out what to do with the papers, and today I show you two ways of kind of bumping up those papers. They do speak for themselves, but sometimes it can be hard to layer things on them because they are so bright. So the first step I'm going to do is to actually build up some hills with vellum. So the vellum will kind of hide a little bit of that brightness and will make it easier to kind of layer stuff on top of the vellum and then letting the pattern paper kind of talk for itself. So I started with a hills stencil, which I then just traced on top of some vellum. I think it's called the just plain vellum or light vellum, but it is my favorite things of vellum that I am using. And I really liked how these two came together. They were pretty gorgeous. And then I layered them on top of this and they were basically see-through. And I realized that maybe this kind of vellum won't work. And I'm pretty sure that for this bright paper, nah, not for me at least. So I dive into my drawers and I found this heavyweight, my favorite things vellum. And I just retraced those hills. I really like the height that I already had. So I just retraced them on top of a piece of heavyweight vellum. Now I cut most of my cardstock down. Like when I'm gonna use a sheet, I always cut it so that it is an A2 card base or half a letter size, and then I work from that half. So this was half a letter size, which means that it is 5.5. So it is the width of the card. I'm going to see that later. I really liked how those two layering on each other did do a really good job at kind of muting that bright paper. And I'm trying to figure out which paper I'm going to use. And then I realized if I turn this, so I had the darker blue at the top and then it went down to light blue, green, yellow and so on. It kind of looked like a sky, even though it's a repeating line. So that was what I went for. Now I am going to layer those little pieces of vellum and kind of see, do I like them with a little bit of an edge? And no, I didn't. I wanted it to be matted at the same size of the pattern paper piece. Now here I ended up turning it upside down because it was easier to cut. And when I put them back together, I really liked how I had a valley on one and a mountain on the other. So I kind of layer them that way instead. For my sentiment, I'm just using the Tuxedo black ink from Memento. I do regret it a little bit. I would have wanted to use like the white embossing that I love to do. But hey, it works out okay. And also it kind of ties in with the rest of those images. So that I have colored for this card. I don't use a lot of them, but I use a few of them as I use Tuxedo black ink for all my copy coloring. Then I'm just gonna line this up. I have a little issue with my mat, and that is I accidentally had my mink on it when the mink was on, and this specific mat can't handle heat, so it bowed. Therefore why I'm pushing it up as high as I do. Here I realized I kind of did a huge flag so that I could hide the adhesive behind that flag, and then I forgot that. So I'm using this little thingy. If I can find it, I will link it down below. It is for kind of removing masking tape or adhesive, and it works great. It's very kind to the material, so it doesn't tear or do anything with the vellum. It just lifts up the tape runner, so I could remove it and then I can hide it properly behind that flag. The next step is going to be to kind of figure out how I want to layer stuff. And I have these 6 branches. So there's through 3 different branches in one of the stamp sets. I will link all of them. I think I used 4 different stamp sets for these, and most of them are new releases, except for the spring gnomes, which the sentiment comes from. And the eggs, by the way. So when I had figured out about how I wanted them to sit, by the way, I will glue them down. I just taped down the vellum on top of the pattern paper to figure out where I would put the rest of the images. And spoiler alert, I only use a couple of eggs. I realized that with those little hills, those images didn't really fit. I would have needed to find something really big to have in the middle, and I really didn't like it. So I picked out all the flowers and everything I colored and ended up just using some branches and some eggs. And I wanted to use the eggs because the sentiment says, "Your friendship is worth putting all my eggs in one basket." And I thought that was really, really cute. So here I layer these little branches. I layer one behind that little flag, and then I layer the other 2 behind the first hill, making sure so the end of the flag is tucked behind one leaf or so. So it has this little teeny tiny stick. And I thought, hey, I want to hide that. There you saw I put glue on the wrong place, but because it's going to be mushed in between 2 things, it didn't really matter. And then I just put it on the back side, and again I will push them in underneath the first little hill and hide the end of the little branch underneath or behind the little leaves, so that it looks like it's something just growing up. You could even hide everything that is behind that hill, but I thought, hey, it looks pretty okay anyhow. And then I just put down those little eggs. To finalize this, I'm using again some tape runner just to add it to my card. It's quick, it's simple. You can use glue, you can use whatever, but I like my tape runner. And that was the first card. Now the second card, I really wanted to use this pattern paper. I've been staring at it for ages, and I'm like, if I only use that pattern paper, if I don't push the white, maybe it works. So I'm making a mini slimline card. All I'm doing is just taking that 6x6 pattern paper and fold it in half. And that is it. That's the card. I'm not sure that it is a proper mini slimline because I don't know the dimension right now, but I know that other people have done it this way. So I just made a very small, thin and tiny card. Then I used this same pink as it is in the design, and I think it is cotton candy pink. So yeah, but again, I will link it in the description down below. And then I heat emboss it in white because that is my favorite way of doing sentiments, especially when you have a very strong, bright colored design. If I would go in with white and pink, like a white flag with pink text, it might be a little bit too contrasty against that pattern paper. So I kind of keep it very, very simple. And again, here I wanted to have a little bit more of a delimiter between my little characters and the pattern paper, and foam tape works really, really good for that, because you get a natural little black shadow around it. So you get just a teensy tiny extra pop without any work at all. And I finish off by putting my little flag in the right corner. And that is the second card done, and all my card for today. I hope you liked my cards, how I showed you how to use it together with a card base and give it a little bit of an extra room to breathe on, how to cover it with vellum, or how to use it just as the card base itself and not so much else. But I want to say thank you so much for watching, and if you liked it, please thumbs it up, and I'll see you on Friday.